Picture this, February 16th, 2026. Hundreds of millions of people are glued to their screens, watching what they think is just, some holiday entertainment. But it wasn't. What they were actually seeing was a message, a very carefully choreographed message. It was a show of technological force on the biggest stage on Earth. And today, we're gonna break down how this one single performance pulled back the curtain on a massive shift in the race to build a robotic future. And this comment, it just blew up on social media right after the show. It really hits the nail on the head, right? This feeling that everyone had, that this wasn't just some flashy, forgettable performance. No, this was a statement. It was like China was saying, hey, while the rest of you is still just talking about the future of humanoid robots, we're already living it, and we're about to show you. So let's talk about this cybernetic kung fu. The whole thing went down at the annual Spring Festival Gala. But get this, the big headliners this year, they weren't famous singers or movie stars. Nope, they were dozens of humanoid robots. And they took center stage to do things that looked like they were ripped straight out of a sci-fi movie. The performance was literally called Cyber Real Kung Fu. And man, it was about to completely change what everyone thought was possible. Just try to picture this for a second. It's not just one robot, but a whole group of them, and they're moving with this shocking speed and grace. You see them vaulting over tables, and not in that clunky, stiff way you'd expect. No, this was fluid. It was dynamic. It looked just like human parkour athletes. The kind of timing and spatial awareness that takes, it was just totally unprecedented for a machine. And then came the moment that just made everyone's jaw hit the floor. The robots used these special launchers to shoot themselves into the air. We're talking over 3 meters high. And up there, they're pulling off these perfect aerial flips. Just think about the physics of that for a second. The raw power to launch, the insane control to balance in midair, and then the stability to stick the landing perfectly. This wasn't just a party trick. It was pure extreme robotic athleticism. Oh, and they weren't done, not by a long shot. Next up, continuous backflips on a single leg, and then this crazy breakdancing spin called an air flare for 7.5 full rotations. Now, let's be super clear here. This isn't just pressing play on a simple routine. These were incredibly complex moves. In fact, a lot of them were world first for a robot, and they did it all live and in perfect unison. Just wow. All right, Section 2, the world's biggest stage. So to really get why this cyber kung fu thing was such a big deal, you have to understand the stage it was on. The sheer scale of it. This wasn't some niche tech conference. This was broadcast live during a cultural event so big it's kind of hard to even wrap your head around. So what is it? It's the CMG Spring Festival Gala, often called Chunwan. And according to Guinness World Records, it is flat out the most watched television program on the entire planet. For Chinese families all over the world, this isn't just a show you flip on. It's a ritual. It's a huge part of the New Year's Eve tradition. It's the shared moment that connects over 1 billion people at the same time. Okay, let's really dive into these numbers because they are just staggering. Check out this chart. On the night of the robot show, the gala had more than 400 million people watching at the exact same time. To give you some perspective, think about the Super Bowl, right? America's biggest TV event. That gets around 120 million viewers total. The gala's live audience was more than 3 times bigger. So yeah, this wasn't some quiet message to the tech world. This was being shouted from the biggest megaphone on Earth. And see, over the years, the gala has become way more than just a big party. It's really evolved into this powerful platform for showing off China's national achievements, especially its tech skills. You could almost call it tech diplomacy. It's a chance to show the whole world and its own citizens just how far the country has come. So putting this army of robots on that stage, Oh, that was absolutely a calculated, strategic move. So that leads to the big question, right? How in the world was any of this even possible? A show this complicated with dozens of robots flying around, it had to involve some serious breakthroughs. So let's get into Section 3, the tech behind the feats. Okay, so the secret sauce at the heart of all this was something called an AI fusion localization algorithm. Sounds complicated, but here's the basic idea. Step 1, sense. The robot's eyes, things like 3D LiDAR and depth cameras, are scanning the stage hundreds of times a second. Step 2, fuse. An AI takes all that environmental info and mashes it together with the robot's own feeling of where its arms and legs are. And finally, step 3, act. The result is that the robot has perfect awareness of where it is, even when it's in the middle of a crazy high-speed flip. It never gets lost.
And this table here really breaks down the specific world firsts that were happening live on stage. That launched aerial flip, the challenge there was extreme balance control. The air flare grand spin, that required a whole new level of dynamic response and coordination. And getting dozens of robots to move together at 4 meters per second, well, that needs ultra-low latency control so they don't crash into each other. Even just holding the props, the swords and staffs, required brand new, super dexterous hands. Every single one of these was a huge engineering challenge that they solved. All right, Section 4, the billion-dollar performance. Now you have to understand, this incredible show wasn't just for getting applause. It was, in a very real way, maybe the most effective commercial ever. And the market responded instantly. Just look at these numbers from the big e-commerce site JD.com. This is what happened in just the first 2 hours after the show aired. Searches for robot up 300%. Calls to customer service asking about robots up a whopping 460%. But here's the kicker. Actual orders for robots jumped 150%. So this wasn't just people being curious, they were pulling out their wallets. It proved right then and there that people were ready for this. And here's a really key point. This wasn't just about one company. The whole thing was a showcase of China's entire robotics ecosystem. You had Unitary Robotics doing the insane cyber-real kung fu, but you also had Magic Labs showing off a noodle-making chef robot. Nuetics Robotics actually put a bionic android in a comedy skit. And Galbot had its robots doing real-world stuff like folding clothes. It was a full-spectrum demonstration. And this quote from Gushi Tao, Magic Lab's co-founder, really sums up the whole strategy. He said, "We want the public to see that robots are not just performers, but capable, intelligent partners." And that's it right there. The whole goal was to change how people think about robots, to take them from being a cool gimmick or a factory arm to being a helpful partner you could actually have in your home. So this brings us to our last section, a new robot superpower. Ultimately, what that 2026 gala really was a public coronation. It was the moment that a reality which had been building up behind the scenes for years was finally revealed to the entire world. And that reality was that China had arrived as the dominant, undisputed leader in the race for humanoid robots. And this chart, wow, it illustrates that new reality perfectly. This data is from the China Mobile Robot Industry Alliance, and it shows that in 2025, the year right before the gala, Chinese companies shipped over 80% of all humanoid robots in the world. 80%. I mean, that isn't just a lead, that's basically capturing the entire market. It paints a picture of a race where one side isn't just winning, they're practically doing a victory lap. Let's zoom in on that even more. Look at the raw numbers here for 2025. China's top 3 companies, Agibot shipped over 5,000 units, Unitary over 4,000, Ubitech 1,000. Now look at their US competitors, estimated to be shipping between maybe 150 and 500 units each. The difference in scale, in production, in deployment, it's just colossal. It's not even close. So you gotta ask why. Why is the gap so huge? Well, it boils down to some big structural advantages for China. They have these deep integrated supply chains that just make parts cheaper. That lets them price the robots for mass adoption, not just for niche research labs. And when you're building at that massive scale, you can learn and improve way faster. All of that is backed by strong government support. Meanwhile, US competitors often have higher costs. They focus on smaller, high-end projects, and they're running on private funding, which can just take longer. And that really brings us to the main takeaway from all of this. That incredible robot kung fu show, it wasn't the starting pistol for the great robotics race. For most of the world watching that night, it was the shocking moment they realized the race was already well underway and that someone was already way out in front. Which leaves us with a pretty provocative thought, doesn't it? In this huge race to build the future, we have to ask ourselves, is everyone still in the running, or is somebody already crossing the finish line? Thanks for watching.